You ever wonder why some of the wealthiest places on the continent of Africa are actually looking like they are the poorest places? Uganda is no different. And recently, this one slipped by us, family, because Uganda came across a whole lot of wealth. I'm talking about backed by natural resources like gold in the trillions of US dollars worth. We're going to get into that story. We're going to also talk about what the future looks like for Uganda as far as who is going to be controlling much of that gold reserve that they just found. And let me start the video off by saying Uganda has many natural resources, including minerals. Uganda has a large deposit of minerals including gold, cobalt, copper, tin, tungsten, uranium, and other rare earth elements. Uganda mines gold and cobalt now as we speak, and gold is an important export. So gold is already there, but Uganda has just found more gold than anyone ever dreamed would be there. However, the mineral sector is not well developed and doesn't contribute much to the economy. We will talk about that in a minute. If you have trillions of dollars worth of gold and other minerals, how come it's not contributing to the economy? They also are rich in oil and gas. Uganda has large reserves of crude oil and natural gas and is moving towards commercial production. However, the world's transition to decarbonization could make Uganda's oil assets less financially viable, according to outsiders. Hear what? My take on that is, it didn't make anybody else who has oil, their oil, less financially viable. So why would it make Uganda's oil less financially viable? Do y'all see the trick? Okay, well, let's get into the story about the recent discovery of a massive amount. When I say massive, a massive amount of gold. Major gold deposits were discovered recently in Uganda. This discovery has the potential to revolutionize the country's resource sector if it is properly regulated. I have a feeling, though, before I even get your hopes up, I have a feeling that this is not going to be easy and this is not going to be Uganda's riches. So in June of 2024, Ugandan officials announced that approximately 31 trillion metric tons of gold ore has been discovered in the country. 31 million metric tons of gold ore. This could result in as much as 320,158 metric tons of refined gold. And this would be worth somewhere estimated around 12 trillion US dollars. 12 trillion with a T US dollars. The discovery has the potential to instigate a surge in investment in the sector in the region, which means, of course, here come all the mining companies and the drillers, and everybody wants to have a part of this. So this could be booming business, but do you really want everybody in your business at this point? The only firm that is currently licensed to mine the new deposits, get this, is a Chinese mining firm called Wagagai, which will likely pave the way for more Chinese engagement in the sector. You know how Chinese people work, right? one in the door, they bring another one in and another one in, and before you know it, you have many Chinese companies sharing the wealth in Uganda. Come on, let's go over to Uganda. It's booming. We can make the motherland of China rich, because certainly they will not be doing more for Uganda than they are doing for themselves in their own homeland and their own bank accounts, in their own pockets, in their own families. So in that, I will say, I think the Chinese are going to be controlling much of Uganda's newfound wealth. Some people are saying, well, until Uganda's claims are independently verified, these claims should be treated with some skepticism. However, if the government's estimates are accurate, the country could soon be experiencing a modern-day gold rush, because not only Chinese will be heading there, there will be many other countries. Russia will be heading there. The United States of America will be heading there. Everybody wants a piece of the pie. You're talking trillions of dollars worth of gold. This is something that Uganda is not really prepared to manage. Now, Uganda's gold sector has been criticized for its lack of sufficient oversight and regulation. In particular, the country has been used as a hub by gold traffickers in the region who smuggle gold from illicit and militant-controlled mines in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, or the DRC. This has resulted in the U.S. Treasury sanctioning Uganda's largest privately owned gold refinery, which is the African Gold Refinery, or the AGR, in March of 2024. Kind of like the movie we saw, how they took the diamonds, how they got the diamonds, and they have all these little kids working in the mines, and then they would take these blood diamonds, as you would call them, a big piece of diamond all the way over on that side of the earth is not worth much because they don't have the market for it. Nobody wants to buy it or can afford it there where it's found. But if you can somehow smuggle that piece of diamond over to the Western world, get it through customs, however, get it to mainland and get it in the right hands, you could be rich for life. And a lot of people go traveling to Uganda and into the the Congo, bringing back these types of illicit riches. Now, in recent years, Uganda has attempted to address the regulatory weakness in its resource sector. In 2020, the country joined what's called the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, the EITI, and in 2021, they passed its new mining and mineral bill. The new law replaced the 2003 Act and enables a more competitive licensing procedure for brownfield projects and strengthens the first come, first serve approach to greenfield projects. I don't know if that's such a good idea, strengthening this first come, first served approach. The law also calls for the creation of a state-owned mining company, which will hold the state's stake in all new mining projects. Now, under this law, this company will be a 15% stakeholder in all mining projects. That means if a mining company from China comes into the Uganda and is allowed to mine there, automatically, whatever they find, the state automatically owns 15%. I would say that they need to increase that amount to automatically what you find here, the state owns about 55%, 60%. Could you imagine being the company that is not from Uganda, and you go to Uganda, and let's say you strike gold, and the gold that you find is worth $1 trillion, just one, and the government only takes 15% of your $1 trillion, the rest of that is yours, and you do not live in Uganda. You're allowed to take your riches and go on about your business. I don't know who came up with this, but I don't think it's beneficial for Uganda. Anyways, the new bill also introduces a new traceability and certification scheme to combat the whole trafficking of minerals, gold, tantalum, tungsten, which could potentially bolster oversight in the sector. Now, the new step have been applauded, but yet Uganda has not illustrated an improved capacity for implementing these new regulations. They're there. New laws were put on the books. New people got in a room and came up with great ideas, but nobody is enforcing any of this. So it's like it doesn't even exist. A current surge in investment and development in Uganda's gold mining and refinery industry without a corresponding strengthening of regulatory implementations and law enforcement capacity could create an even more enabling environment for gold traffickers to step in. Step in with their own private armies. There would be a lot of bloodshed behind it. People could just be in there like the old wild, wild west, free for all. Such a gold rush would also expose Uganda to the dangers of the resource curse, as it's called. A well-published phenomenon where instead of bringing wealth and prosperity, the discovery of natural resources leads to graft, economic mismanagement, conflict, environmental degradation, lots of loss of lives, and a poorer quality of life for the people of that land. See, there are two things that can happen here. This can either go really good or it can go really bad. The extractive sector also crowds out investment away from other sectors and renders an economy far less diversified and resilient than it would have otherwise been in the absence of such natural resources. Resource-rich developing countries are therefore far more vulnerable to fluctuations in commodity markets. Uganda is particularly vulnerable to this phenomenon as the country already has high corruption levels. It is currently ranked 144th out of the 188 countries on the Transparency International's Corruption Perception Index. This is an index that they use to mark who are the most corrupted countries in the world. Now, in the meantime, Uganda is pressing ahead with developing these newfound resources. Again, they need to be pressing ahead with enforcing these new rules, regulations, and laws so that they can have a system that is properly placed, well put together, and properly regulated. Because if it's not properly regulated, oh man, all kinds of backdoor deals are going to be going on. And before you know it, like I said, none of this newfound gold deposit is going to be in the hands of Uganda or Ugandans. Therefore, it will not benefit Uganda. So in the meantime, it's a good thing Uganda is pressing ahead with developing these newfound resources. And thus far, the only firm to be granted a license to mine and to refine the new deposit is the Chinese mining firm called Wagagai, a wholly owned subsidiary of the Liaoning Honga Group. whatever that means. I'm just telling you basically their address, where they come from. The company was granted a gold production license in 2016, long before the government knew the scale of the country's deposits. So they got in there, luckily, before everybody else did. They are like the forefront runners, the explorers. They're like the first ones, the scouts. They're the only ones that have license to get to work in this refinery. And they're in the process of developing a US $200 million mine and refinery. That same Chinese company. They have invested a whole lot of money. But if you invest 200 million US dollars and 12 trillion US dollars is the payoff, then that 200 million US dollars is like lunch money. It's like dinner money. Take your wife out for the evening money. Pocket change. I heard somebody say one time, you're not truly rich unless you are rich in natural resources. That means if you own gold, silver, or all these other minerals, have a stake in a refinery or a mine. This refinery is expected to become, so they have put in over, right now they're developing a $200 million mine and refinery in Busia in the eastern region. And this refinery is expected to become a major operator in Uganda due to its proximity to the Kenyan border and the related export route, as well as due to the sanctions that are currently imposed on AGR. One thing I'm feeling good about for Uganda's sake is that they don't have a whole bunch of people with their hands in the cookie jar at the moment. Only one company has their hands in that cookie jar, and no more. So I guess they will slowly vet and give access to others as the workload gets greater and more is demanded to mine and refine this $12 trillion worth of gold. Now, although Wagagai has not explicitly stated so, the bulk of its exports is likely going to be to China. This is what I'm guessing, because they're from China. Where else are they going to be exporting all the gold and stuff that they're taking out of Uganda? Back to China. This is due to the company's strongest ties, and they are tied to the industry in China, combined with China's substantial demand for gold. China and Hong Kong imported a combined $72.8 billion worth, US dollars worth, of gold in 2021, making China as a whole the second largest market for gold behind Switzerland. It is clear that Uganda is about to become a major gold production center, regardless of the accuracy of the scale of the find and the possibility of further U.S. sanctions. This presents both major opportunities and challenges for the country and will be instrumental in deciding Uganda's future economic development. You know what? I think Uganda is going to be just fine. However, if this plays out in the hands of those who mean Uganda no good, as in they are there to rape Uganda and take and make themselves wealthy in their own homeland without giving anything back to Uganda, I hope that Uganda has leaders in place who have Uganda's best interest at heart. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. This kind of makes me feel like I might want to pack my bags and head to Uganda and try my luck and see what might transpire. Who knows? You might see me in a few years and I'm one of the key players in selling gold. Real gold. Hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you on the next video. It's SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.